Hello everybody, this is Astocky here and welcome to a tutorial video on how to install the DayZ or DayZy Single Player. So basically what I thought I would do, there's been a few people who've been asking how you go about installing it. So the very first thing you're going to need to do is come to this particular forum that I'm at the moment, which is the unofficial DayZ Single Player forum. And you want to go to unofficial DayZ Single Player releases. Now depending on which version you want to play, you've got Factions 2.1, Breaking Point 1.5, Factions 2.2. Clearly the versions closer to the top are newer, but basically any of the top four are for, I guess, the latest stable or the very latest version of DayZ at the moment, which is the 13th of June 2013. So it just really depends on what you want. But I'm going to pick the most recent version because that's kind of probably the version that people are going to be interested in. So you basically click on that, and now it gives you, a bit of a picture, bit of an explanation of what's involved in it, and then you come down and it tells you how to install it. Now that's clearly not that clear for everyone who wants to install it. So what I'm going to do now is quickly run you through the process of what you have to do to install it. So the first thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to get Arma 2 combined operations, because you need the original Arma 2 and you need Operation Arrowhead, and then you need to get the latest beta patch. So that's, for me anyway, I have the game on Steam. If you don't have the game on Steam, you can basically click on this link here and it will take you to the page where you can download and unzip the beta. Otherwise, if you have Steam, it'll automatically pop up in Steam. So I'm just going to pause the video for a second and then I'll show you how that looks. Back in a moment. Okay, so here we are, we're in Steam. You can see I have Arma 2. Now, it's important because it won't work if you don't. You need to install Arma 2 and then you need to actually play Arma 2. Critical that you play it, otherwise it won't work later. Then do Arma 2 Operation Arrowhead and play that. Now, the beta should appear here. That you only have to install. I found you didn't have to play it, but you absolutely have to play these two and at least get to the main menu. Otherwise the system won't detect that it's installed correctly and won't work. So once you've got that done and have the three of them installed, you're pretty much ready to go to the next step, which is Weekend Deal. For those of you who haven't got Kerbal Space Program, get that. That's an absolute bargain. So the next thing that you want to do is you're going to want to open up, actually back to this window here, because this is going to take a while. It's a fairly large file. You want to download this DayZ Factions file. It doesn't matter where you save it, just remember later where you saved it, but you definitely want to download that file now because it, like I said, will take a while. The next thing you want to do is you want to go to dayZCommander.com, and now once you're here you want to just scroll down and you want to click the button that says Get DayZCommander Now. There's a whole lot of these other ones. These are all ads, don't click on those. You want this one here, and that will actually download the Commander installer, and then you can install it. Now once you have that installed, you're pretty much ready to go. You just double click on DayZCommander, and I'm going to have to make sure it fits in the window, and once this pops up, it'll bring up a big server list, but you can ignore the server list for now. What you want to do is go to Install Update. Now this will normally come up here saying DayZ not found, and so what you want to do is come over here and you can pick whichever version you want. Pick 1.7.6.1 if that's the version that you had of the, for example, like I said, this is for 1.7. If you had gone for a different version like Breaking Point or DayZ Factions 2.1, you can see it's a different version, so you just have to make sure you pick the same version. I'm using the latest, so you can do the 1.7.7, and then we'll give you an install button. You basically click on that and that will download and install DayZ for you. The next thing you're going to want to do is look up here, and it might tell you that your Arma 2 beta is not up to date. Mine is saying that it's up to date, but you can basically just click on the most recent version and click install, and that will update your beta. Once you've done both of those, you want to close these down. That's pretty much that part of it finished. So you've now got DayZ installed, and you have the files that you're going to need for Breaking Point. So what we're going to do now is we're going to bring up an Internet Explorer window, and you're going to navigate to where it is. And in this particular case for me, I have Steam, so it's under Steam, and then it's under Steam Apps, Common, and it's under Operation Arrowhead. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to look in your add-ins folder for Operation Arrowhead. If that folder there is empty, it's very important to go to Arma 2 and copy all the content of that add-ons folder over to Arma 2 Operation Arrowhead. That's important. The next thing you will see is you will have a file like this called DayZ, @DayZ. Now that basically is the file that allows you to play DayZ. So once you've made sure that you have that particular file, because it's very important that you have that, that will show you that dayZCommander installed it correctly, you're then going to want to go to wherever it is that you saved the DayZ Factions file, which in my case, I'm going to open up a new Internet Explorer window just because that's the easiest way to do it. I put that on the games DayZ. So here you can see I have the latest version of Factions, which is 2.2 hotfix 1. So I'll open that up, and you can see inside of it is an add-ons folder and a missions folder. So I already have the file here. I already have the file here, which is DayZ Factions 2.2. But basically what you have to do is just create a folder. You can call it anything you want. In this case I'm just going to call it test. So we're going to say @test. But whatever you name that file, you will need to remember that later. Now the next thing you're going to need to do is come in here and create a new folder called add-ons. You're then going to want to go back to your DayZ folder and copy that add-ons folder and then paste it into your test folder. That will copy all of the DayZ content over to your new @test folder. Now that's very, very important. The next thing you're going to want to do is go back to your zip file, and you're going to want to grab everything in your add-ons folder and drag it and drop it over the top of the DayZ add-on, and that will basically replace the files that it needs to update it. So it's now DayZ Factions 2.2. The last thing that you're going to need to do is go back to your Arma 2 Operation Arrowhead and go into the missions folder, and you're going to want to copy out of the missions directory the 2 mission files, because they're what's actually going to let you play the single player. So now that we've copied those out, we have the missions file. You've got basically everything ready to go. What you do is you scroll down, and down here a little way there will be this file here called Launch Arma 2 OA Beta Patch. Now basically what I do is I just copy that to my desktop, and then rename it, and you can call it whatever you want. And then right click on it, this is the important part, go to Properties, and under Target you need to go right to the end, and you can see that there's nothing there. That's when you go to the actual install instructions for how to install the mod. So we're back here under the DayZ, and if we scroll down to the install instructions, it says don't forget to add this particular bit right to the end. Now that assumes you've put it in the DayZ Factions folder. That would be the folder that I would suggest you create for it. In my particular case, I'm going to rename it @test, so I'm only going to copy the first part. But for you, create the folder with that name, just like they've said to, and then put this bit right at the end. But again, we're going to go back to that part just here, and then at the end I'm going to put space @mod, and I called it test. So now what this will do is when I hit apply, this will now set the system up to run that particular mod. Now if you follow the instructions on the website here, it also suggests that you install a couple of other mods. One is called the COWarMod, and then it explains the files that are important to put in, and also the JSRS Sound Mod. And LandTEX doesn't need to be installed because the latest version of the COWarMod already has it there, but that's just a link if you want to find out some more about it. So basically you want to install these two. Now to install them, what you have to do is extract them into your Operation Arrowhead folder again, and you can see there I have my JSRS 1.5, and they're just exactly the same. They just have a zip and you just extract them. Although with these ones they actually have some other files, so you'll need to extract all of the files. And it's the same for the COWarMod. You need to extract all the files and just put them in there. Now to get those mods to actually run correctly, you also need to add their titles to the end of here. So at the very end of the line you put a semicolon, and then you want to say at COWarMod, and then colon at, in this case it was JSRS 1.5. Now the other thing that is important, it's not actually mentioned here, but it's mentioned on the page for the COWarMod, is you'll also have to download something called CBA_CO. That's necessary for it to actually work, so I'm going to put that in at the end as well, at CBA_CO. So now basically what that has done is that has got us set up. We've got the launch script all ready. We hit OK. Now if I double click on this, whatever I want, it will now open up Arma 2 Operation Arrowhead beta patch with the mods DayZ Factions, COWarMod, and the JSRS Sound Mod all installed at once. So that's basically everything that you need to do. Now it's important to note that if you wish to play on a server, do not use this single player link. That will actually get you banned from servers because you're using modified versions of the files and they don't like that. The way I would suggest to do that is either to create your own like little link that uses a different set of launch icons to just run the DayZ by itself, which is the original DayZ, or much better yet, just run it with dayZCommander. If you just run it with dayZCommander and just run it straight, it'll just work perfectly, and that's pretty much what you want. So hopefully that's told you guys how to do it. I'm not actually going to launch it right now because I'm recording in a little bit of a window on my desktop, and once this goes full screen it'll mess things up. But if anyone has any questions, please feel free to post in the video. I'm very happy to help out. And if you have any particular issues with the mod where you think you might have found a bug, Alex, who's the guy who has created this, I mean, he's just amazing. I think, you know, every day he's been pushing out updates to help people. As soon as someone posts that they have a problem, he's helping them instantly. So it's just absolutely fantastic if you're looking for some help. So thank you very much for watching. Again, post comments in the channels or post comments on the forums if you need some help. Until next time, Astocky out.